Hello, is this thing on?
Yes, it is.
This thing is on. We are still in the maze of ever-shifting bunkers, like Hades, but less cool. It continues to shift as we try to find new patch panels with which to connect to each other to keep recording this podcast, which honestly should not be our priority in these end times where we're playing like where we're doing some kind of maze runner shit, some kind of YA battle royale thing, which is basically battle royale but less rapey, I guess.
Aww.
But nonetheless, we have made it our priority for the entertainment of you, our listeners. My name is Carlos.
This is Dave.
This is Two Fat Guys Talk, the podcast, the experience, the legacy. This is episode 128, and insert whatever title I always think of when I'm editing them. All right, good chat. So, if you want to hear more of us... okay, you're still here. Good,
Get back here.
Davaniel, do you know what game I finished recently?
Fire.
Okay, so I've been doing this little play group on Discord where a bunch of people we know, one of us plays a game and the rest watch it, and we've been using it to kind of play games that we've wanted to get through, but benefit from having an audience and some backseat gamer buddies to help out. So the most recent game we finished on that channel is Septerra Core, which I played through, and I got to play a janky 90s computer RPG that was trying to be a JRPG. And I gotta tell you, it was fun.
Yep.
That game, its strongest suit, it's definitely its kind of above average voice acting. You can definitely see where development kind of stuttered a bit because the dialogue to dungeon balance is really good in the first third of the game. But then after that, the dungeons become these long labyrinth-themed puzzle things that you could go through and then realize you didn't get some key items somewhere else.
Yep.
With no easy exit option.
Mm-hmm.
The plot, such as it is cool, but you start to see so little of it, and only the main character, Maya, converses for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone gets some development. It's just that Maya does all the talking for the most part. There are times when other party members get to shine, but it's not nearly as often as I would have liked. I still really liked it. I still kind of hope that there's a remake in its future somewhere, because I do think it deserved, especially since I've been reading its development diaries.
Oh.
If you're interested, I can send you them. It's an ongoing series of someone who was actively working on Septerra Core and all the trials and tribulations to get that game to finally launch, including dropped plot threads that really should have been in the game.
Sounds interesting. I mean, I did put you onto the existence of this game many, many decades ago.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it at your house.
Yeah.
That's right. On your computer device.
So, I mean, I'll admit, I didn't make it very far into that game because, well, some of the systems were janky and I just didn't have the patience for it, but it definitely was a production of its time. I mean, the long dungeons, the very few save points in said dungeons, the long, almost never-ending sequences without actual plot. I mean, that was JRPGs at the time to a T.
I still had a lot of fun with it, and my co-gamers, my co-pilots also had a fun time, and they were definitely very helpful in pointing out things I would have missed. And about a third of the way through, when the dungeons got so long, though, I did find a couple FAQs, a couple walkthroughs, and basically just referred to them.
Let me guess, game FAQs?
One was from there, one was from some other site. Someone made like a Septerra Core shrine or something.
Oh man,
we found all the hidden birds, because there was a hidden objective, the hidden birds that you use to find all to unlock the secret lighthouse that has the game's best gear in it.
Mm-hmm.
The game that we are currently going through now, one of our other friends is playing it, and Meepo and Keeks are backseat gaming for this person, is Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I gotta tell you, this game, I'm debating when this run is done of picking it up for myself and playing it, because it's actually super cool. It's an RPG, and I think what Sega did is they got the Persona team to make it. It's very much a Yakuza game in that the main plot is kind of violent and filled with, honor and sins of the father shit. The side missions are very silly and goofy, just like the other Yakuza games. But what's interesting is that as an RPG, it's just very self-aware and really neat. It has a job system. A job system. I saw, as this game's been going through, I was thinking two things. One, this game is cool. I've said it multiple times as it's being played. And two, Dave would really dig this fucking game if he likes Persona.
I have seen my roommate play a number of the Yakuza games, and as neat as I think they are, and I mean, I've actually had him hand me the controller on some of the mini games and stuff like that to give him a hand. Stuff like some of the dancing ones and think rhythm mini games. I have no inclination to play this series.
Neither do I. Neither do I. And I still want to play this game.
I wish it well.
That's a good thing to say. See, you don't have to hate that term, Dave. That's a good term.
Well, okay. The only reason I come to hate that term sometimes is because you use it so frequently.
It's because I don't want to watch your shitty anime shows. Okay, I do want to watch some of them.
Yeah, I know you do. But, I mean, I've seen Yakuza 1, 2, and 3 played through almost entire segments of that game, so I get what Yakuza is. The fact that their most recent one is more of an RPG is definitely a change for how the game went. Just like the one before this was like a strategy game, almost.
What I like about this one is that it not only feels kind of like a Persona game, it has a little bit of Skies of Arcadia in it.
Oh, God.
They actually do a little bit of how your party members will look like they're fighting while you're selecting commands, so that there's a bit of that dynamic feel, like they're not just waiting. Like, you can do shit like if you time your hit correctly, you can knock them into traffic and they take extra damage.
Yep.
It's fucking good shit. It's a cool game. And it has, Dave, I know you're a big fan of this, it has a really good dub. George Takei plays a prominent character.
That doesn't surprise me. Honestly, the Yakuza games have, in my opinion at least, always had a really good dub. Like, these games have no right to be dubbed this well from Sega, of all companies.
It's a really good dub. They leave some of the enemies speaking in Japanese while you speak in English, which I think is actually pretty fitting for because this is a very Japanese setting.
Oh, God, is it ever.
Like, it could not be a more Japanese setting. But it's super cool. It's super cool. I think you would like it. But regardless, I'm, like, even though I'm kind of co-piloting this one while someone else plays it, I think I might pick it up and play it on my own when they're done.
Wow, you actually playing a game made after like the last 20 years. That's a fucking miracle.
I know, right? I was talking to friends about how I've become a gaming hipster. Just before this, I was organizing my RetroArch ROMs so I can better play games that weren't made this year.
Yeah, we need to have an intervention, I think.
Oh, we need to have an intervention for this?
Yes.
I had actually planned the next time you tried to show me an isekai of turning the mic on and being like, this is a Carlos and Dave Anime Rave intervention. Dave, what has happened to you?
Okay. I would very easily have a comeback. What else am I going to show you?
I mean, yeah, what else?
Fucking tenths of anime are either I'm stuck in a VR game or I'm in a fucking isekai. What do you want?
I want us to find the diamonds in the rough, just like the Cave of Wonders told Jafar. And then I want us to be infidels and touch the forbidden treasure.
I just want to try and find the best of what's currently out, and if it happens to be in a second, it happens to be good, it's a fucking miracle, okay?
It is a miracle, because so far this has never happened.
Oh, bullshit.
Hang on. Do we count the Owl House? Because if we count the Owl House, then yes, it has.
It's happened outside of that as well.
You know what? It hasn't. But I'll let you have your delusions.
Fuck you.
This is Strong Start to episode 128. We're already mad at each other.
Oh, God.
Let's check the voicemail line, because last time Rowan snuck one in and I didn't even see it and nothing.
And by stuck in, you mean had been in there for like 3 weeks to a month and you just hadn't noticed.
You're right. I hadn't. This is a 2-person operation.
I had. I'm the one who told you it was there.
I know. So take that, bitch.
Fucker.
I talked about what the fuck I was playing. What have you been playing?
Oh.
Because I noticed you've been playing and not chatting with us.
I've been in a bit of a loner mode due to work and other things.
Uh-huh.
What have I been playing? I've been beta testing, or I guess early accessing rather, 30XX.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is the awesome sequel to 20XX.
Yeah, you and I have played that co-op, the roguelite,
yep,
Mega Man X style game. We finished a run of it.
Yes, we did.
I've given 20XX criminally little time. I have the Switch version now, but I have to play it some more.
I've also been playing Divinity 2 Original Sin with another friend.
Yeah, that game was not bad. I tried a little bit of it, and it seemed all right.
You know, it's funny. This is my 5th time getting into this game, and the most I've ever put into it was about 6 hours before I gave up.
Okay.
And not the fault of the game, the fault of me, and in some ways not understanding the combat system and the intricacies of having the multi-classes and everything else, but also it's a lot to take in. In this case, my bud Nick is controlling 2 of the characters. I'm controlling the other 2, and it's been a lot of fun two-manning it, just because, you have another person there to talk to, and you're going through strategies, and, I mean, that's been really fun. Other than that, though, been playing some Civilization 6.
Yeah, Civ. Did Gandhi declare war on you yet?
No, in my current version, Gandhi's doesn't seem to be a nuclear holocaust sort of character, but I have the modes turned on that any world leader can be any type of character just for a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
So
Gandhi can be like, this too is part of my peaceful plan.
Yes,
and launch
as he's
nukes
nuking your cities. But that's what I've been doing on Steam. I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft, heavily modded to make it more interesting.
Uh-huh.
And that's enough. As far as I'm concerned, I'm in between playing World of Warcraft to let my subscription lapse.
Oh, I should probably mention I've also been playing that. I continue my Shadowlandsing, getting my Hordes up to max level so I can play with friends who got back in.
I'm probably going to come back once the next content patch drops.
We will talk about that a little bit later in the show, because we got a lot of details from that.
But other than that, it's been a lot of work, catching up on a bunch of anime, some which I've already got on the list to show you once Pandemic ends one day.
Christ!
Oh, you have no idea the backlog.
Do we have to?
Yes.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We're not beholden to this.
Oh, yes, we are.
I have been having a really good time being Two Fat Guys Talk Carlos and not Anime Rave Carlos.
Well, guess what?
I've been so calm.
The Anime Rave stuff is coming back in a big way.
Does it have to, though?
Oh, yes.
But I don't want it to come back.
Tough shit.
Okay, I want it to come back, but only for the shows I like.
Yeah, no, the fans want it. The fans want to hear you cry, so I'm gonna give them what the fan wants.
The fans just want my suffering.
Well, yes.
Well, we gotta give them what they want, I guess.
Yes, we do.
I guess I can open up my entire asshole and invite them all in. I read a hentai that was like that about a bunny girl who... You know what? It's probably best not to talk about it.
Yeah, it probably is. It really probably is.
Speaking of sexy bunnies, there was a new Nintendo Direct. For the first time in 500 plus days. For the first time since 2019, there was a full, not mini, full Nintendo Direct.
Wow.
And it kinda sucked. What did you think of it?
Well, the announcements in it weren't necessarily bad, okay? I mean, I didn't get any sort of timeline for the new Zelda, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I hyped myself up quite a bit before it for what could potentially be announced, and got, like, nothing.
I mean, the new character for Smash, I don't give two shits about Smash, but the fact that they're bringing Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, kind of neat. I mean, there are already enough custom stages built around those two characters' breasts that why not have the actual character in the game?
I like how Smash Brothers is a game for good boys and girls, which is why they can't have Mai in the background. But Pyra and Mithra's titties jiggle immaculately in the engine in that trailer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Nintendo and its hypocrisy continues.
Now, I'm not complaining about the titty. I'm complaining about
about
the titty discrimination.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy.
The TIDDY discrimination.
The fact that the Legend of Mana is coming, that's kind of neat. The Capcom Arcade Stadium announcement. Okay, we knew that was coming, but
Legend of Mana is a game I didn't really give a fair shot to back on PlayStation. I remember playing it and not liking it.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone and their mother I know is excited for it to be remade. So I think I might give it a shot. Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe, or maybe you were dead on. It's just not your type of game.
Maybe.
It's just like the fact that we're getting The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD with actual controller controls.
When they said no Breath of the Wild 2, but check this out, and it was that garbage, I was so mad. I was on Discord with friends, and they could feel my anger without me saying anything.
Well, yeah, because The Legend of Zelda the Skyward Sword is the weakest Zelda game that's ever been made, and that even includes Zelda 2.
Zelda 2 is leagues better than Skyward Sword.
That's my point.
Zelda 2 is leagues better than most of the 3D Zeldas.
No. Majora's Mask I'll give you, but the rest, no. Let's not bring your Zelda 2 fetish into this.
Here's the best Zelda list. Top 3 Zelda games.
God.
Number 1, Breath of the Wild. Can we agree on that?
Yes, we can.
Number 2, The Wind Waker.
I'm not going to argue too highly on that because The Wind Waker was a solid fucking game.
Good, because that's actually my number 3. Number 2 is A Link Between Worlds.
Okay. Yeah.
Then number 3 is The Wind Waker, and then number 4, Zelda 2.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's the truth, man. It's objective fact.
Link to the Past would have to be number 4.
I will not argue that game's inclusion. It's really good.
Now, Zelda 2 is very decisive as far as where it falls into any list because some people loved it, other people didn't.
It's super decisive. One might even say it's divisive.
Thank you for fixing that. Thank you very much, because after I said it, I realized, oh shit, I used the wrong word. Divisive. Yeah.
And I can't let that slide on this podcast.
No, you can't, and I appreciate that. No, Legend of Zelda 2 is one of the 2 Zeldas that I have not finished.
No, it's fine. And here's the thing: it's not everyone's cup of tea. We don't. You don't have to defend your disdain for Zelda 2, but we can definitely shit on Skyward Sword.
But and that's just it. Is I would only put Skyward Sword ahead of one Zelda game, and that's Majora's Mask, because that game to me is utter garbage. So
we've been over this on this podcast.
Yes,
I don't think it bears repeating.
Yeah. Okay.
I know of your hate, but I mean, there's shit I fucking harp on too. Like like, have I told you about the evils of capitalism lately and all that? So,
But
yeah, no, I hear you. It's just, it would no Breath of the Wild 2, and then we got that. I was like, boo.
I expected it though. I expected Skyward Sword to get an HD edition, and going past the quality of Skyward Sword, which part of the problem I had with Skyward Sword is it looked so much worse than what was the one before it?
Twilight Princess.
It looked so much worse than Twilight Princess.
I like the Zelda from Skyward Sword. She's cute,
I
but otherwise, and Groose.
Like,
Groose is cool.
I love the floating city. I love the idea of what they were doing there with the flying and the idea of the game. I have no problem with. I love the Zelda. I even like the Link. I like the fact that you actually had a Zelda Link pairing where they were actually a couple. I mean, that never gets acknowledged ever. It's always, Zelda's the queen and Link's doing some work for her, but he's got his other girlfriend or something like that. But, Zelda and Link were actually fucking.
You know where they were fucking and Nintendo retconned it? The Ruby Spears cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
But no, yeah, that was a disappointing part of the show. There were decent things. Like, we heard that the Saga Frontier remake is coming in April, which is sooner than I thought. We got no Metroid Prime 4 news, which was a big bummer.
Yeah.
They didn't even mention it.
I think Nintendo is having a really hard time with Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think they know what they want to do with it, storyline and gameplay wise. And I think that's why they've gone through at least two developers. Maybe
it's because the Metroid creator is a fucking knob.
He is, and they should completely ignore anything to do with his ideas.
My ideal Metroid Prime 4 takes place after Fusion, but retcons other M.
Oh yeah, totally.
It specifically says that never happened. It was just a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the really stupid things out of the Nintendo Direct.
But Splatoon 3, Dave.
No.
Just so good. So it's Splatoon 3.
But,
yay.
But Splatoon...
What a good Direct, guys.
Okay, Carlos. You and I don't care about Splatoon. Granted. But a lot of kids like the Splatoon games. They're a kid-friendly shooter. Let them have it. It's a big thing for some kids.
No, they can't have it. Everything has to be about me.
What I don't like is Star Wars Hunters.
Here's the thing. I saw that, and I'm like, oh, a new Star Wars game. And then I saw Zynga, and I'm like, all I heard was the Price is Right lose noise.
Uh-huh. Free-to-play online shooter with massive microtransactions. Oh, goody.
Good. Is this what they meant when they said it was going to be more than just EA doing Star Wars now? That we got Zynga and Ubisoft. So far, so good.
Well, Zynga has to be doing that under the EA license, though, because EA still has 2 years of exclusivity.
I remember when Marvel and Disney were A, separate companies, and B, both prominently had Capcom make their games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say, Dave.
Those were good days.
I kind of hope Disney buys Capcom.
Oh, fuck off. No. Disney doesn't need any more under its belt.
You're right. I don't know what came over me.
Disney already owns more than half the entertainment industry. They don't need anything more.
Agreed. You're right. I'm crazy.
I'm hoping the Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion stuff, I hope they manage to patch and make the main game not more stable, but run better.
I heard that thing really taxes the Switch.
Oh, it does.
Mm-hmm.
How about the announcement that Nintendo's already working on its next console?
Was that announced?
Yeah, it's been mentioned multiple times.
In the Direct?
I don't think it was directly in the Direct.
Because, I assume Nintendo was always working on their next console.
Well, I thought they'd be doing like a Switch 2 kind of thing, but it sounds like they're working on a full-fledged console again.
I like the idea of a portable that can become not a portable, so I hope the next console keeps that idea.
Yes and no.
That has been very useful to me. It's one of the reasons I really liked the Model 1 NVIDIA Shield. It's because it could be my little clamshell Android console, Or I could use a mini HDMI to hook it up to a TV.
Yeah, but the rumor is we're probably getting a Switch 2 this year. Probably late.
I have heard it.
Which I wouldn't necessarily mind as long as it's not just a modest upgrade. Like, if they're going to make a Switch 2, I want at least a doubling of power.
I had a friend who, back in the Wii days, he thought for sure that the next Nintendo console was going to be a big powerhouse system because they only did the Wii to kind of recoup their losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was going to be the case for a long time. But then Nintendo doubled down on making things that weren't always on the cutting edge, but still had a good game library. And I think that's a good thing because I don't always need everything to be cutting edge. But it's clear that now Nintendo themselves is running into the ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, and Nintendo admits that the Wii U almost broke them.
There are times that I wonder if it would be better off if Nintendo didn't just become a third-party dev.
Yeah.
That I could enjoy their stuff on other consoles so that I wouldn't need to be like, oh, the next Nintendo console is dick controls. It controls you with your dick or pussy. It's called the Nintendo de Pussy. And what it does is you connect the thing to your genitals. And this is how you control Mario.
We get it. You don't need to go into any details.
You control Mario with your dick.
No.
You wave it around when you want it to spin. And girls have a much harder time.
Okay. Let's just stop that one right there, okay?
Model 2 has much better cooch to movement technology. CTMT.
Okay. Moving on. For God's sakes, moving on.
Mario Golf looks pretty fucking cool, actually. I've always liked the Mario Golf games. I've been pining for some kind of Hot Shots Golf style game other than Hot Shots Golf. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one, and I really like the speed golf mode.
Well, okay, the biggest thing happening right now this weekend is, of course, the BlizzCon.
Yes, although we got the majority of the news yesterday.
Well, that's what usually happens, though. I mean, yeah. they give us the main headlines, and then they fill it in during the rest of the weekend for those who care.
I'm actually kind of happy with the very first game they announced because I nabbed it. The Blizzard Arcade Collection. What?
I'm happy people are happy for it, but one thing I will say about this BlizzCon, it was basically, look at what we've done in the past and are trying to resell you.
They have so many fucking things in that collection. Different versions of the games, different screen modes and filters, controls.
Oh wow, so they basically went and stole a whole bunch of things from emulators and sold it to you. Great.
I am hovering over the kick button so hard.
Look, none of the games I cared about in that collection. So
I thought you were a big Blackthorn, Mark. Or am I thinking of Shadowrun? I'm thinking of Shadowrun.
You're thinking of Shadowrun.
I thought you liked Rock and Roll Racing because it was like Micro Machines.
Here's the thing. I never played it back in the day.
Oh.
So I can't have an attachment to something I never played.
So who the hell was I thinking of who liked Rock and Roll Racing?
Fuck if I know.
And why isn't the Justice League fighting game in this collection?
Oh, yeah, right. Like they'd ever get the, want to pay for the license to bring that out.
Justice League Task Force. It was really bad.
Yeah, you don't highlight crap when you're trying to sell somebody a collection. No, it just, that was a non-starter for me when it comes to BlizzCon. I mean, the announcement of the next content patch for Shadowlands has me mildly interested.
Me too.
I mean, I did love, again, Blizzard does amazing cinematics, and seeing,
what's his name, Dave?
I was actually trying to think of the name of the Covenant.
Oh, the what did you call them last time? You called them the Scientology Covenant.
No, I think I called
them Bastion, right?
I called them the Nazi Covenant. You called them the Scientology Covenant.
Well, yeah, because they're closer to Scientologists.
Well.
And even then, they're really not. They just still creep me the fuck out.
Yeah, like the Venthyr, seeing that the Venthyr head get stabbed was just they are
not the Venthyr. They are the Curians. The Ventir are the vampire people.
All right. Yeah.
You are not prepared.
But anyway, seeing her get stabbed was awesome because I saw it coming.
Oh, of course. They were mirroring the Warcraft 3 thing where
Yeah.
Arthas walks into the thing.
Yeah.
Even Uther was like, oh, noes.
Oh, crap. Yep. Though I haven't finished the main content, so I didn't even know that Uther had been captured.
Yeah, he was doing bad shit.
Well, I knew he was...
This half of his soul.
Yeah, that's going to come back to play a part, I'm sure.
I was actually super hyped for the Rogue, actually, because I think you came on at this time. They announced a new class. They started talking about a Diablo 1 return, and they showed the Cathedral, and I immediately was like, oh shit, This is Sightless Eye shit.
Yep.
I read the Diablo 1 instruction manual front to back, and to this day, I'm still amazed that they foreshadowed events up to and including Diablo 3 in that manual decades ago. And the whole lore about the Sightless Eye, and then when you get all that lore in Diablo 2 and Act 1, I always liked rogues. And to see them come back as a full playable class with new melee skills to back them up, and not just a support... Yeah, not just range and not just a support class for your hero in D2 is really, really fantastic.
Yeah.
So I hope Diablo 4 isn't going to do that no respec thing, because now I kind of want to play thanks to the Rogue. Diablo 2 Remastered, or Resurrected, looks pretty hyped too. I didn't expect it to be a full 3D game that you can switch back and forth between the 2D and the 3D. That is pretty huge. And with releasing on consoles, finally, that was the one Diablo game that didn't have a way you could play it on a D-pad, on a gamepad rather, and now you can.
So it's already confirmed that the PC will also have console controls.
For D2?
For D2.
Or for D4?
Well, actually, D2 and D4.
Yeah, D4 that's being built from the ground up.
Now, they have announced that mods will be possible for D2 and even potentially D4 now. But, as always, they are locking down what's possible via mod.
I've come to realize that I don't like that mods are a thing in WoW, because Blizzard has basically used this as an excuse to never improve their default UI. Yeah, I have a nice looking custom UI, but I only have it to the point where I think the regular UI should have already been.
Yeah, I can't argue that. However, if it wasn't for people hacking D2, that game would have been dead long ago.
Sure. I appreciate that mods have definitely kept things alive, but what I'm worried about is that Blizzard is going to wash their hands of any improvements they need to make and just be like, well, you can just mod it.
That is true. That is true.
Look, I appreciate that mods keep the world alive. There's actually a private WoW server that I want to try that does the classless thing, where you can make your class anything you want and grab abilities from anywhere. And I'm like, that seems super neat, you know? So I'm okay with people modding and experimenting and iterating. It's just that I don't want it to be so prevalent that the dev themselves designs content that you need the mods for, like raid content, and then doesn't make improvements to their default UI to show you where attacks are coming or what they're going to do. They're relying on you to have a mod to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing FF14 has on it, like that telegraphing thing, which every MMO now owes to WildStar. That telegraphing thing should be the standard.
It should be. And while I have been sad that there hasn't been the ability to mod certain things into Final Fantasy XIV over the years, they've always fixed things. So,
like, there's still some ways they're very backwards in their design, but WoW is the other extreme.
It is.
Like, I shouldn't need to use macros to do mouse over shit. I shouldn't need to use macros to make a too big toolkit feel manageable. Like, however, like, it's cool. It's cool that the mod support is there. I just worry is all.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got justifications for that. Blizzard does get lazy with that. And
I didn't... Sorry, go on.
I've read a little bit more on the mods. Basically, they're a lot of the stuff that modders did to Diablo 2, they basically moved that from the core programming into like a data area that you can actually manipulate via mods. And as you may remember, Diablo 2 did not allow you to respec.
They eventually patched it in very close to the end of their patch life cycle.
That's not coming.
So you can't respec in the remake?
From what I read today, they want you to make your decisions and make it count. So that will literally be the first mod that somebody makes.
Are you serious? They're really going to make that mistake again? They're really going to make that mistake again? Rogues are not gender locked. That's cool.
I was actually wondering about that.
D2 will not have couch co-op, except on the Switch.
Well, on the Switch, if you have two systems.
Oh, okay. So no, that's kind of a bummer. Controller support for Diablo 2 on PC? Yes, that's good. Cross progression, but not cross play. Okay, whatever.
And the cross play thing is still up in the air, depending on what console groups want to do. I am looking forward to playing Diablo 2 again in a remaster, just because I've tried to go back and play Diablo 2, and even with all the mods and graphical updates and everything else that people have tried to do, it shows its age. That's really all I can say on that. It shows its bloody age.
It does.
It's hard to go back to it with so many of the isms that Diablo 2 had back then. I'm glad they're doing it as one game so that Chapter 5 is included. I'm really glad for that.
Yep, Lord of Destruction's built into it.
I honestly hope they decide not to add more content.
It's going to be it's going to be playing D2. It's not going to be about iterating on that. That's what D4 is for.
Yeah. Now, the thing I do find funny about Diablo 2 getting a remaster here is that means Diablo 4 has to be pretty far out.
I imagine it's not going to release this year.
Oh, they've already said that.
It's going to be 2022, maybe even 23.
Now, from the trailer they've shown us of some of that Diablo 4 gameplay, yeah, somebody was playing the Darksiders Diablo-like.
Well, these games evolve. It makes sense that the inventors of this subgenre would borrow from that, right? Kind of like how Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal borrowed from a lot of what the arcadey Doom games kind of strive to be, you know?
And I don't say that as a judgment at all. As I was playing through the Darksiders Diablo-like game, all I could think of is, man, I hope Blizzard's watching. Because they gave, you had height to stuff. You could actually, in that game, jump up and go to a higher ledge area and, throw some of your skills down into the lower area. You had, the verticality gave the game so much more oomph for areas and things of that nature. The skills felt, actually beefy. It didn't, I'm gonna throw a fireball there. Oh yeah, great. You'd throw the equivalent of a meteor at something and the screen would shake, your control would rumble a bit at you, and the landscape would alter for 20-30 seconds, showing like a crater. Things seem to have so much more oomph in that game, and I'm glad to see that Diablo is taking a few of those things from them. I'm also glad to see in the trailer that they didn't try and go all dark and broody like Diablo 2 mostly did. You still have to have some bright and lit areas. Thank you very much. I wasn't happy to hear that they're still trying to do PvP.
I mean, people like PvP as long as it's consensual, and that's something Resurrected better also do. None of this whole someone declares war on you and you don't get a say on it bullshit.
Yeah, they abandoned PvP in Diablo 3 because they couldn't get it to work practically at all. So I don't like hearing that they're wasting time on PvP again.
Some people like it, man. There are going to be features that you're not going to use. Are you going to make one of any class like I usually do?
Probably.
I mean, okay, fuck you then.
That's
I wasn't expecting you to have an answer for that.
Well, that's your fault, not mine.
Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just looking something up.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to see if there were any time respecs or not in D2. And I just encountered the normal bunch of people saying, but it would ruin the game. And I don't really want to, like, punch my monitor right now, so I'm going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another gaming... There are actually a couple other gaming-related things. One of them, I don't know if it's still going, and the other is actually happening tomorrow. But that's something that I'm going to be paying more attention to. There's going to be another one of those fighting game roundtable things where there might be announcements for some upcoming fighters, like King of Fighters or even Guilty Gear Strive might have the last character. And I'm hoping this is a place where SNK will drop whether or not King of Fighters 15 has rollback netcode. But speaking of rollback netcode, Guilty Gear Strive's beta with rollback netcode has been super hella hype and praised, and you're seeing a lot of really cool match play from some really good players online, and the game just looks gorgeous. Did you have a chance to jump into that yet?
I haven't.
Maybe we should jump into that at some point while it's still running. I'm hoping they'll extend it because there were some issues with some players getting online, and I know sometimes when that happens, Arxis will extend.
Yeah, let's see here. What are the actual beta times for this one? 19th. Oh,
is it already over?
Hang on. No, it opened for everybody on February 19th.
Okay.
Only scheduled to run for a few days. Ends on tomorrow.
Oh, that's fine. I'll probably jump on tonight at some point. If for nothing else, just to practice with a few characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm gonna buy it. I know I am.
Yeah, me too. However, I've promised myself that I'm not buying fighting games that don't have rollback anymore. I'm sick of this shit. I'm mad enough that this technology has been around for over a decade, and only now, after lots and lots of complaining, are companies finally taking notice and putting it in. But I'm bitter enough that if, say, KOF 15 doesn't have it, I don't care if it's a good enough game in other areas. I'm just not getting it.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. Fuck that noise. The only time I'll give anyone an exception is if they're like a smaller dev and they manage to make a really good fighter. But typically the smaller devs use rollback netcode anyway. So
yeah, there's no reason not to use it.
No more Dragon Ball FighterZ characters until they fucking add it to the game or put it into Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 or whatever. None of this garbage.
Yeah.
Even if it's rollback that they need to kind of reiterate on. Street Fighter V had it, and the only reason that it was kind of a problem is because it wasn't implemented well.
Yeah, it's in today's day and age, there's just no justification. And seeing as it's now in Guilty Gear Strive, I would expect that any future expansions on Dragon Ball would just have it.
They better, because I won't get them. I just won't. No more of this. If you want me to live in a capitalist society, and play by its rules, fine. I will not throw my money at things that don't do exactly what I want.
Yeah. That is the right way to do it.
Yeah. Gaming. I can't think of... Do you have more?
Well, and there hasn't been all that much going on in gaming. It's, I mean, there are a number of big titles coming out soon that I'm interested in, but nothing to really talk too much on that. I haven't already talked before.
I've heard rumors that Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 is going to be an open world game. Hello? Did I break you that hard?
Wasn't Final Fantasy VII kind of an open world already after you left Midgar?
No, it was very linear. You still had to do... The only time it got very open world is right before the final dungeon, when you could finally go do all the extra shit. And even then, there's a set number of extra things you can do before you have to just go do the final dungeon anyway, because you're out of shit to do.
I don't know if that's a good change. But
I actually think it is a good idea, because since they're messing with the timeline, now that things are different, you can have events progress differently, possibly even according to how the player plays with no set like timeline. You decide how the events go. I actually think that's really neat. Maybe there is a way to save Aerith in one ending, but not in another.
Okay, I'm going to be very mean here to Square. They can't pull that off.
Dave, I want you to be wrong.
I know.
Even though I think you're probably right.
I know they can try and say they're doing an open world game, but I'm totally okay with them messing with the timeline, messing with storyline events that happened before, everything else. But trying to change it into an open world game might be a little bit too ambitious and might be a change actually in the wrong direction.
I don't know. I think it's neat. If it is true, I like the idea.
It's all going to matter about implementation.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, they definitely hit a home run with Remake.
Yes.
And that there's no guarantee they're going to follow up with another home run in whatever the fuck Remake 2 is called. Like look, just because Horizon Zero Dawn was a good game doesn't mean that Horizon Forbidden West is going to be. Though, certainly, I hope it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it also matters, and I mean, I'm looking at some things while we're talking here about Part 2. Now, I don't know if open world quite means what Square's trying to say it is. Because, open world tends to be, I'll give an example here, Skyrim. Skyrim is open world. If I see a hill over there, I can go to where that hill is, and if I jump to an event that's only supposed to take place in the last third of the game, I can trigger that if I am ambitious enough to get there.
I was going to say another example, and perhaps maybe the best example, in my opinion, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Now, what they're saying here, and this is being not so much quoted, but interpreted, while the main story will still be ongoing, all the world outside of Midgar will become explorable. Well, it kind of was already. But that means locations surrounding Midgar like Calm, Junin, Chocobo Ranch, and Mithril Mines, and Fort Condor will be explorable. Well, they were in the original game. You're just telling me that it's going to be more explorable. Like, open world, I think their interpretation's a little bit different than mine. It sounds like after you blow up the first reactor and you're going through the burning part of the city. In the original game, that was basically a walkway. Like, they turned that entire area into an open world explorable city. I think that's what they're meaning here versus open world Breath of the Wild kind of idea.
Maybe. I do think a proper open world could benefit for reasons already stated, but you may well be right. And yeah, giving Square the benefit of the doubt is not a good idea, despite what the good work they've done.
Unless it's the guy behind Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, Yoshi P?
Yeah, I don't trust anybody else in the Final Fantasy staff as far as I can throw my house. Yoshi P has kind of earned my trust when he says he's going to do something. Please don't fuck up all of a sudden.
Dave, I have breaking news.
Shut up.
The Dinosaur Planet playable version, the playable version of the game that became Star Fox 64 has been leaked online. It was an N64 game, and it apparently is playable on most emulators.
That's funny. I love how a whole bunch of these old ROMs that got old games that got discontinued right before coming out are all of a sudden being leaked by devs.
Did you think the breaking news was going to be about FF7?
I thought you were teasing me a bit, and we're going to try and give me some giant scandal that he's been through all of a sudden I hadn't heard of.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, he is one of the few public people within Square that, when he says he's going to do something, he does it. If he all of a sudden can't, he'll apologize and give a reason why.
Gotcha.
So I can respect that as long as, it's not every other day that you're just apologizing for not being able to do something. Now, Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. Which decade do you think that one's coming out in?
I'm gonna say that at the earliest, it'll be 2024.
2024? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I could go for that. I was thinking like 2026, 2027, but they might be able to get it out before then. Especially if they're going open world like they're talking. That's a big change. Just a massive change. And if they don't allow you to save Aerith, I'm going to be mad. Because this Aerith is definitely worth saving.
Women aren't worth saving unless they're quirky and I want to put my dick in their boobs. But what? Point taken. What?
The original Aerith didn't have all too much to her, and even then, I was still pissed off and sad when they killed her in the first one.
Yeah, it sucks because when they kill like an old person like Tella from 4, who cares?
Yeah.
That was a joke. You weren't supposed to agree with that.
I didn't care about that too much.
What's his name, Dave?
Tella.
Okay, good. I thought you were dancing around it.
No, when I do that, I usually start going like, yeah, so...
I did kind of care that they killed General Leo but in 6, but General Leo also kind of existed to be murdered. He wasn't really well established.
Yeah, as much as he was a good guy and everything else, he didn't have too much to him other than being the general who believes in doing what's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was a walking death flag.
Mm-hmm. And I can't believe he was only 2 days away from retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way he'll die. He's going to get married tomorrow.
Oh, God. I need to make it to my wedding in 2 days. Yeah.
I'm just shocked that Kefka didn't mow him down with an Uzi.
Now that's a game I'd love to see get the FF7 treatment.
General Leo's like, I'm not going to die. I'm going to get married in 3 days. Meanwhile, on the FF7 planet, Meteor immediately starts lifting. Septerra's like, what the fuck? And then a few days later, at Leo's wedding, it's like, it falls right on him. And it literally just touches ground long enough to kill him and then takes off again.
Oh, so true. So true. I've got nothing else.
Yeah, me neither. That's a good way to end it. You know what else? You know what else needs a meteor to fucking fall right on it? Our website over at animerave.xyz or twofatguystalk.com. That's the home of this podcast and our other program, Carlos Dave Anime Rave, which will never be coming back. And if you want to leave us a voicemail or any suggestions, go there. Click the appropriate links. Or you could leave comments on our YouTube videos. You could rate our podcast on whatever service you found it on. If you found it on iTunes, give it 5 stars. Give it the maximum rating. You know that if you don't give something the maximum rating, it basically doesn't count. Give it the max rating. You can even leave the max rating and then just say mean shit about me. That's fine. None of this fucking 4-star nonsense. 5 stars. Carlos, you look like you have a smelly dick, and I'll thank you for it.
If you have any suggestions via voicemail for any animes you want me to make Carlos watch, please leave that as well, because I will do that.
I have access to that mailbox. I will obliterate them and IP block whoever sends suggestions.
I'm watching.
Farewell, folks.
Do you want to see us do a rewatch of Monica or anything like that? We'll do it.
It won't happen. You don't have the manpower to force me to do that.
Oh, yes, I do.
You could have a 40-man raid ready, and they're all gonna die if they try to make me watch that show again. You ever want to see one man kill 40 men? Do that.
You do realize that we're watching the sequel show, right?
No.
Yes.
No, come on. Why would you do... What have I ever done to you?
You exist.
I know. Tune in next time, everyone.
And all of a sudden you're so down.
Leave us your suggestions, guys, for anime.
Animu for the win!
Bye, guys. See you later.
Tune in next time, everyone.
Bye.